You know that moment when you're rumbling through your purse, searching for your keys? Have you ever had one of those moments and you swear that your keys suddenly develop the ability to walk away?
Welcome to Time to Win podcast. It's not just a podcast, it's the official personal growth locker room of life where champions just like you gather to cultivate their courage, create a life-changing game plan of success, and celebrate their wins. I'm RJ Jackson, your personal growth coach and host, and I'm committed to seeing you win. As a professional speaker and growth coach for over 3 decades, I've worked with and inspired thousands to grow their greatness and transform their setbacks into a comeback. And now it's your turn. It's time to win. So if you're ready, grab something to take notes with. We're about to dive in. Let's go fight win.
Hello, my friend, and welcome once again to Time to Win podcast. I am your host, RJ Jackson, the courage giver, your impact speaker and mindset coach, here to help you go from stress and struggles to purpose and prosperity. You, my friend, were born to win, and God says in His Word that you would prosper and be in good health. And we're here to show you the path to prosperity. So buckle up. Let's go. Let's go. You know that moment when you're rumbling through your purse, searching for your keys? Have you ever had one of those moments and you swear that your keys suddenly develop the ability to walk away? I mean, they're nowhere to be found. You know what that reminds me of? Dealing with those pesky, self-imposed barriers that we as women convince ourselves, just like we've convinced ourselves that the keys have the ability to walk away. We convince ourselves that we aren't worth it. And it's funny because all along those keys, they're like hiding in plain sight. Like they're tucked away between yesterday's grocery list and, of course, the receipt. That's still in your purse. But guess what? Today, we're not going to just find those keys. Oh, no. We're going to uncover the map to the treasure. One that's been buried underneath layers and layers of doubt, fear, rejection, shame, hesitation. Yeah, we're going to find the treasure that lies within you. So, let's kick off those running shoes and declare today we will no longer run from the pain of our past. We will no longer run from fear, doubt, shame, rejection. No, unworthiness. No, we're about to trade in our running shoes for a pair of red high heels. Listen, my friend, we're about to embark on a repositioned journey from limitation to liberation. We're about to turn some things around here. And trust me, it's gonna be a game changer. So, if you like being stuck in a rut, stuck in shame, doubt, fear, and rejection, well, you might as well go find yourself another podcast to listen to. Because here on Time to Win podcast, we realize that time is of the essence. And playtime? Oh, it's over. We're committed to going from stressed and struggling to purpose and prosperity. So, if you're all in, welcome to the adventure of breaking free. All right, my friend, buckle up because, listen, we're breaking some chains today. Okay, so we're going to talk about breaking free today because this is your season to shine. This is your season to win, my friend. And for most of us as women over 40, when we talk about breaking free, well, we're talking about an act of boldness, bold liberation, a declaration of independence from the shackles that has us bound. We're talking about breaking every chain that has us tied up and tangled up in unhealthy relationships, financial debt, and being haunted by the pain of the past. Now, this is not just about leaving behind what no longer serves us. Oh, no. It's about stepping into the realm of purpose and prosperity. Breaking free is where our spirits soar on the winds of freedom. We're not just escaping the old. If you're hanging out with us today, we want you to know we are embracing a future where our wisdom is our guide, our experiences are our strength, and our dreams are valid and vivid. And we matter. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Because we about to break free, my sister. Breaking free here on Time to Win means reclaiming our power, rewriting our narratives, and rediscovering the joy of being whole and unapologetically ourselves. It's a journey of transformation where we emerge not just as survivors, but as thrivers, living the life that God planned for us to live, a life of a future and a hope. So, as we talk about from limitations to liberations, breaking free from self-imposed barriers, we're going to navigate this journey from the confines of our doubts to the freedom of our true potential. We're not going to just talk about self-doubt and imposter syndrome. We're going to talk about overcoming so that we can achieve holistic prosperity. So get your pen and paper ready so we can embark on this transforming, repositioned journey together. Now, just before we dive in deep, let's take a moment to acknowledge and thank the Cure for Women at thecureforwomen.com and the real Bernice Taylor for supporting our vision. We'll be right back after this word.
Revitalize your fitness journey with Bernice Taylor Fitness. Bernice Taylor, a passionate personal trainer specializing in serving women over 40, is committed to empowering a healthy lifestyle. With tailored fitness programs that inspire strength, resilience, and well-being, Bernice brings unparalleled expertise to every session. Join her transformative journey towards a healthier you and experience the power of fitness in unlocking your full potential. Visit BerniceTaylorFitness.com. That's BerniceTaylorFitness.com to kickstart your fitness revolution. Because doing something is better than nothing. Let's go!
All right, are you ready? Because it's time to go, my friend. We got about 17 minutes to dive in deep, and we want to use our time wisely. We want to make sure that we are honoring you and your time so that you can join us again next time. But in the meantime, we want to invite you, if you haven't already done so, go call a friend and say, hey, Time to Win podcast is on live. You want to make sure that you're listening in. And if you choose to wait until it's over, that's okay. You can always encourage them to catch the replay. But whatever you do, don't keep Time to Win podcast to yourself. Share it with a friend who, like you and like me, want to grow their greatness. All right, so today we are addressing a critical issue that many of us as women face. It's that gnawing feeling of not being good enough and the suspicion that we don't truly belong to our successes. Closing the gap from what's being said in our head to the truth of who we are and what we deserve. Yes, we are talking about imposter syndrome and how it intertwines with self-doubt to create barriers that seem insurmountable. But more importantly, as I shared with you, we're going to explore how to overcome these feelings and unlock the promise of prosperity. So if you've been with us before, you know that when we talk about prosperity, we're talking about prospering God's way. And that encompasses well-being, contentment, and fulfillment across every area of our life. And when it comes to imposter syndrome, the roots of it is in self-doubt. And that can stifle our growth our happiness, and our overall prosperity, it causes us to believe that we're not worth our achievements or the good things that happen in our life. Imposter syndrome, it's a barrier, not just to our success, but it's a padlock on our birthright for prosperity. And so we're gonna talk about it. I love that today's podcast was inspired by one of our followers on social media. You see, we put it out there and people are starting to answer the call, and we just want to say thank you for letting us know what is going to best serve you. Because that's why we're here. We're here to serve you. We're here to give you information that's going to cause transformation in your situation. We don't want to just be giving you information. We want to see transformation take place in your life. We want to see you win. And so when we ask you to share with us your thoughts, your needs, and you do, that lights a fire in the Time to Win podcast dream team. So today's focus is inspired by a question from one of our followers. Her name is Sarah. And Sarah asked, what strategies can help me overcome self-doubt and imposter syndrome to reach my full potential? So thank you, Sarah, for your question. It is the heart of our episode today. And it's a call to action for all of us as women, especially if we're feeling hindered by these self-imposed, yes, I said it, self-imposed barriers. They're not things other people are telling us. They're the crazy conversations we are having with ourselves. Imagine that. Imagine that. Okay, so before we can actually get into strategies for imposter syndrome, let's kind of like break it down so we can be on one accord and know exactly what we're talking about when we say imposter syndrome. So, imposter syndrome is the persistent belief that you're not as confident as others perceive you to be. And the key word is persistent. It's not that negative self-talk that comes every now and then and says, girl, what you doing? You know you can't do that. That's just your negative Nelly showing up in your life, trying to change your name and your fame and your character, right? Imposter syndrome is a consistent nagging. If you ever had a consistent headache, you know what I'm talking about. It's a persistent belief that you aren't who people think you are. And you have this fear, a fear of being exposed as a fraud. And you say things like, if they only knew the real me. You know, it's really interesting because it's a pattern where, especially as women, now don't get me wrong, because men experience imposter syndrome too, but especially as women, we doubt our achievements and we have an internalized fear of being unmasked, exposed. It ain't funny, but seriously, exposed despite external evidence of what we've achieved. Like the writing is on the wall, but in our heart, we believe that's not us. And if people find out, woe is me. But it is you. You have proof in the pudding. And so when you consistently believe that there's a separation between what you have achieved and who you are, then you pretty much have had feelings of imposter syndrome. So let me give you an example. Consider a highly successful woman who, despite receiving accolades for her work, fears one day her colleagues will recognize that she's not as talented as they thought. Or picture a devoted mother who, after raising her children and deciding to re-enter the workforce, fears she doesn't possess the skills or the value to succeed in a professional setting. Now, wait a minute. She just succeeded raising her children. She proved to be a leader. And just like the highly successful woman, she has accolades, trophies on her desk. But yet she's fearing that someone will believe that she's not who she says she is. If you've ever felt like you're playing a part, waiting for someone to pull back the curtain and reveal your supposed inadequacy, know this. You're not alone. Statistics show that 75% of women, especially in the U.S., have experienced imposter syndrome or some thoughts of imposter syndrome. So how would you know if you have? Well, think about this. There are like 4 P's. Think about the 4 P's of imposter syndrome and ask yourself, have I ever been caught up, not passing through, but caught up in any of these 4 things? Number 1, perfectionism. Couldn't do it because you kept doing it over and over and over and over again, saying it just wasn't good enough. Or paralysis, like just stuck, like refusing to move because fear has set in and convinced you you're not good enough. Or maybe people pleasing. You're always saying yes when you really want to say no. You're always going an extra mile to help people think better of you than what you think about yourself. And then there's the dreaded procrastination. Yes, procrastination. You wait and wait and wait and put it off and off and off, all because you say, when I get better, when I get the right tools, when I get this, when I get that, maybe later. Any of those 4. If you've lived there, you know what imposter syndrome looks like, and you know what it feels like. Listen, I am only here talking about this because I am in the number. I'm in the 75% of women who have experienced imposter syndrome. I have experienced the perfectionism. Listen, after my accident, I promise you, I kept doing things over and over and over again, and I never presented it. I made so many reels, I wrote so many posts, but didn't even put them out because I thought people are going to find out that I'm not who I say I am. Really? Like, well, then who are you, RJ? Like, I kid you not. I have awards, recognitions, honors, coins from the U.S. Army. I've been acknowledged for my contribution to the world. But I promise you, when I tell you, I thought that was a different person from who I was. I even had people saying to me, RJ, you've done all this, you've done all that. Why aren't you out there? Why aren't you putting yourself back out there? Instead of saying I am, I was saying I'm an imposter. Go figure. No, you probably don't have to go figure. You probably are picking up what I'm putting down. You probably can relate. Well, can you relate to this? I woke up one day and I did start saying, but wait a minute. I am who God says I am. I am not an imposter. I am who I say I am. I am not just what I've done, but who I am from the inside out. And what I've done simply supports who I am. And so I have the hashtag, I am RJ Jackson. Why? Because I know who I am. Imposter syndrome no longer has a grip on me. I'm going to put it out there. Listen, I'm going to create the reels. I'm going to write the posts. I'm going to show up. I'm going to speak up. And if I don't say the word right and that offends you, find that other podcast I told you about. Because listen, I want to do what I've been called to do. And I know this. The person and the people who are assigned to me, who resonate with what I'm saying, oh, they're going to stick around. And when they do, they're going to take this repositioned journey with me, and neither one of us will be the same. We will change, we will heal, we will grow, and we will prosper, and we'll do it together. So, I don't know how you're feeling about it right now, and I don't know how it's working for you if you've allowed imposter syndrome to live at your address. It took me longer than I wanted to, but I did it. And I decided I wasn't just going to be the one moving. Imposter syndrome had to go. Like paying no rent, living in my space. Oh no, it had to go. And today I want to encourage you to kick imposter syndrome to the curb. Now, there's a lot of reasons for imposter syndrome, including our personality, our upbringing, our environment, how we as women are actually treated in the workplace. There's a lot of reasons for it. But here's the deal. We don't have to live there. And you've heard me say it all the time. We don't have to live where we're dying, and we don't have to die where we're living. Then what do I do, RJ? I'm so glad you asked. I'm really glad you're here so we can talk about it. Because I want to give you 3 strategies. Now, there are going to be strategies you could actually apply right away. And there are going to be strategies that if you feel, okay, that sounds good, but I can't do that alone, then we got you. You don't have to do it alone. So if you're ever feeling like the strategies we give you is just too much for you to handle, then we got you. That's why we're here. And we want to invite you to the winner's circle where we can get underneath you and lift you up and help you see and be who God created you to be and go beyond what you see so that you can prosper and be in good health. So let's look at the strategies. Number 1, this is so important. Acknowledge and name your feelings. Like, your feelings are real. They're valid. Recognizing what you're experiencing as imposter syndrome can demystify it and reduce its power. Understand that these feelings don't reflect your true ability or your worth. It's how you feel. And feelings change. So by calling out imposter syndrome, you're taking the first step in transforming self-doubt into a driving force for self-assurance. So say it out loud. Say, oh, I'm worthy. I see imposter syndrome trying to attack my worth. That ain't happening today. Not here. Not today. Not ever. Because I recognize it now. Call it out. And when you call it out, it's got to go. Got to get up out of here. You know how they used to say, I don't know, some of y'all may not know, but I know. They used to say at a certain hour, when the party was over, they would say, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here. Right? Yeah, I don't know nothing about that. Well, that's the same thing that happens for imposter syndrome. You call it out. Say, hey, I'm turning the light on you. And Mama used to tell you when the street lights come on, you better be in this house, right? Listen, when you turn the light on imposter syndrome, it's got to flee. Because darkness cannot live in the light. And imposter syndrome is definitely born out of darkness, out of fear, rejection, and shame, out of self-doubt. So, turn the light on, imposter syndrome, call it for what it is. And remember that you are worth so much more than what you're believing in your head or thinking that other people are thinking about you. All right, strategy number 2, revisit your achievements. If you want to know what you've done, go back and look at your awards. Look at the trophies on your desk. I mean, listen, make it a habit to revisit and celebrate your achievements, no matter how small. When we make this grounds for practice, our confidence, it just goes through the roof, okay? Because you're reminding yourself of your capabilities and your success. And each accomplishment is a testament to your worth and a step towards diluting the feelings of being an imposter. So go back and look at what you've done. Matter of fact, keep it in front of your face. Put your awards up on the desk. Hang your plaques up on the wall. Talk about it. Share it. But don't live there either. Go and create more opportunities to show people who you are from the inside out. You know how they used to say, I can show you better than I can tell you? So when you're showing people who you are, you don't have time to tell yourself the lies of who you're not. Revisit your achievements and know that you are worthy. And finally, not that there isn't any more, but this is going to be it for today. Foster connections. You see, fostering connections with others who understand and share our experiences, we open up. We feel free to open up, and we feel comfortable and safe to share how we're feeling. And this is incredibly freeing. You'll likely find that many other women share the same feeling if you're willing to be vulnerable and transparent. And then together, we can build a support network that uplifts and encourages each one of us, realizing our full potential and marking a path for prosperity. And that's the cure for women. That's Time to Win podcast. That's RJ Jackson, your impact speaker and mindset coach. This is what I do. And here's why I do what I do. For you. For you to realize that God did not make a mistake when He thought about you before you were even conceived in your mother's womb. He had a plan for you, a plan to prosper you, a plan for a future and a hope. And the enemy knows that. And his job is to kill, steal, and destroy, starting with your mind, to kill what God has put inside of you, to destroy the thoughts of worthiness inside of you. But we're not going to let that happen, boo. We are not going to let that happen. We've created a safe space for you to come and hang out. And here's my commitment to you. You give me 90 days of your time, I'm going to show you how to trade in your running shoes for a brand new pair of red high heels. I am committed to showing you how to go from stress and struggling to purpose and prosperity. Why? Because I know what it's like to be there. I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to stress about how I'm going to pay the mortgage. I know what it's like. I traded in all those problems that came along with that for the promise of prosperity. And now I live my life with constant joy. Does that mean I got it made in the shade? Yep. It does. Because God said I will be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. And no matter what happens, I shall not be moved. And I decided to be like that tree, planted by the rivers of water. Life is going to happen, but I shall not be moved. Why? Because I understand the promise, and I've experienced what it's like to live out of the promise. And girl, if you haven't experienced it yet, come on over. We got room for you in the winner's circle. 90 days. If you are serious about giving up your surviving in exchange for thriving, let's have a conversation on purpose. 90 days. I'm telling you, you will see change, progress, and purpose in 90 days if you're willing to do the work. Where does it start? Right here, right now, with the strategies I've given you for imposter syndrome and self-doubt to know your worth. Acknowledge how you're feeling, revisit and celebrate your achievements, and foster healthy connections. This, my friend, is the path to prosperity. Which of the 3 strategies that I shared with you today is the one that resonated with you the most? And which one are you willing to take a risk with confidence and face your giants and go after? I would love to know. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, go ahead and put it in the comments, or you can always send us a message at timetowinpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can always message us on our website at timetowinpodcast.com. That's timetowinpodcast.com. We would love, absolutely love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, comment, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Well, as we come close to the end, I want to say a shout out and a special thank you to our friend Sarah for inspiring today's episode. And to each and every one of you, remember, the journey from limitation to liberation begins with a single step. It's a step on the path to prosperity. So acknowledging the barriers that we place around ourselves and taking deliberate action to dismantle them is the key. So if you're ready to break free from self-doubt and imposter syndrome and embrace a life of holistic prosperity, then I'm here to guide you and support you. We want to encourage you to stay connected and join us in the journey. Meet us in the Winner's Circle and The Cure for Women at thecureforwomen.com. Now, there are so many ways that you can get involved, so make sure to get involved. And here are some ways that you can go from stress and struggle to purpose and prosperity.
You can join our mastermind group, which is a space where women empower other women. We share insights, wisdom, strategies for personal, professional, and spiritual growth. It's really a place where you belong and where we prosper together. Or you can attend a meetup. Our meetups are really designed to be an enriched experience where not only do we provide valuable networking opportunities, but also moments of genuine connection and shared growth.
Pick the one that works for you and decide now is the time.
You can find out more information by visiting us on our website at timetowinpodcast.com.
This is your time to shine, and shine bright like a diamond. Well, I'm not tired, but my time has expired. I gotta let you go. But just before I do, I just want you to know you were born to prosper and be in good health. So take the first step, because the step to prosperity starts here.
Thank you for listening to Time to Win. I recognize that you appreciate the value provided in today's episode, and for your gratitude, I'm giving you a Time to Win VIP listener badge. So head on over to timetowinpodcast.com. That's timetowinpodcast.com and claim your badge and gain immediate VIP access to more of our next level resources and opportunities, including details on the huddle, a table for 10, the Cure Circle, and the Cure Retreat. Because you've enjoyed today's session, you can also express your gratitude by rating, reviewing, and returning next week with a friend. Oh, by the way, be sure to screenshot today's episode and share it in your Instagram and Facebook story or on your favorite social media platform. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week in the locker room of life, here on Time to Win. And remember, the best time to win is now.